What you think y'all was bringing in daily, on a daily?
Well, on a daily, about people's about 250,000 a day.
Boy, I'm moving big body in my Maserati. War stories about the game and the biggest party. Who put the work in that city? Yeah, we got it started. Soon as the work touched my hands, we put it on the market. My niggas know what up, though. Greet me when you see me. A nigga stood on 10 toes walking out the precinct. Chrysler, Ford, GMC. This the beat factor. 313. They wasn't outside, boy. I'm living proof. You better check around on how I got the juice. They done put me in that mold, boy. We finna ride. If you ain't know about it then, I bet you know it now. No brakes or gas on this podcast. Secret to all the war, sharing dog tags. Never hate us out my heart, we just showing love. And if your ass was around, you knew what it was. Yeah, it's for my 7 Mile BK niggas. What up, dog? Yeah, Frank Usher, Satin nigga. Best friends, P it down. Shout out to 2020, man. Big ups to Rock, Demetrius Holloway. What up, dog? Showboat, Chauncey. Pointed out to them boys. See you, nigga. Bush Jones, Schoolcraft niggas. What up, dog? Maserati Brick, Detroit, baby.
What up, dog? Welcome back to the Beat Factory 313 War Stories podcast, and I'm your host, Juice. And let them know who we got back with us today, nephew.
It's your boy, Big MVP. I'm him on TikTok and Instagram, man. Check me out.
What up, dog? You all right today, Mike?
I am, big bro, man. I appreciate this opportunity, man, to speak to the people, man, to speak to the public, man. Thank you.
Well, let them know who you are for those who just getting in tune with you. Let them know who you are and what's going on with you today.
Right now, man, you can look me up on Instagram and TikTok as Big MVP. I'm him, but I go by the government name, Michael Putman. Right now, I've been on a 12-year quest, man, for fighting to prove my innocence, man, in order to get out of prison due for wrongful conviction.
Okay, and let them know what's been going on with that fight. You got some good news, and let them know what's been going on with your case.
I do, yeah, man. I got a little good news. You know, it's been a little turbulence lately too, though. You know, right now, man, I've been dealing with judicial politics. The trial court's been politicking me on my new evidence that I got back in 2020 that I filed into the courts back in 2022. My judge, he didn't want to recognize it as new evidence, even though it is. So right now, I got the Court of Appeals reviewing it. That way, they can remand it back down for the lower courts to reconsider it. And I just discovered new evidence, you know what I'm saying, thanks to my fiance, who has been a great crusader in my quest for freedom. I got some new evidence, and right now I'm in the process of trying to retain this dignified attorney, man, out of Monroe. And just to get that new evidence in there, too, man, to couple everything together to show this police misconduct and prosecutorial misconduct in clear light.
Okay, and let them know what charges you got on hand that you fighting with right now. The charges you fight.
Right now, I'm fighting, man. 1 count of second-degree murder, 2 counts with assault with intent to commit murder, 1 count of armed robbery, a felony firearm. I got sentenced to 27 to 50 years in prison. I've been down 12 years now. I'm about to get his 15 years back.
And how that journey been proving your innocence with the courts?
Man, I can't lie, man. It's been turbulence. It's been very troubling, man. It's been frustrating. You know, at times it can feel very defeating. But, you know, man, as a kid, man, I always been the one that, man, put my head down, get my foot deeper in the mud, man, and just keep trucking. And but it's been rocky, man. You know, I ain't really been having support. I ain't really been having the help that needed. You know, a lot of guys who say they're there for you when you out there in the world, man, you know, they tend to disappear, or they tend to act like their problems are so consuming that they can't even look over at you for a bit. But, man, like I said, thanks to my fiance, Miss Lavina Ford, and who have been a great crusader in my quest for freedom, but also, man, Miss Willis, who have just came along. She have took it upon herself to advocate for me. She is a wrongful conviction advocate, man, and she heard the last interview I did with your podcast, which I appreciate that opportunity for your platform, too. Mm-hmm. She came along, man, in order trying to bring some light on the officer in charge in my case, man, in order to get him charged as the criminal he is, man, for committing this deliberate perjury in defendants' trials and on the stand. And right now, yeah, she's trying to really help other people going forward so they won't be victims like me and the other individuals who have been convicted due to this officer's impropriety.
And what's her name again in her movement?
Miss Willis, man, she a wrongful conviction advocate, man. Offhand, I cannot remember what's the name of her movement, but her name is Miss Willis. She is a wrongful conviction advocate, and she's definitely coming along, man, trying to be of great support. And yeah, with her, you know what I'm saying, with her and tremendous support from my fiance, man, I have been able to make a lot of headways and get some traction going on in my quest for freedom.
Shout out to Miss Willis and all that she does for the brothers and sisters that's locked up and proving their innocence. And what's some of the obstacles that the courts are trying to use to prevent you prevailing?
Well, you know, right now, man, they really try to lean upon people who are representing themselves. They're trying to lean upon their ignorance, hoping that they don't know what they know. So they've been trying to play with the court rules, the Michigan court rules, which is basically governing procedures and how you're supposed to come into the courts. You know, can't nobody win anything without playing by the rules of the house. So they try to lean on guys' ignorance and hoping that guys don't know what they know. But as far as with people who represent themselves, they also don't really want to honor, you know, guys who are filing their own petitions for new trials. And so they really just been stalling guys down there. You got guys' motions been pending in the lower courts, man, for 2-3 years with really no activity on there. And it's becoming very offensive, and it's becoming very debilitating, man, to guys because they get defeated. Like, when do we return if the courts ain't honoring us, if the courts ain't giving us the justice that we're looking for?
And so, who do they turn to for some outside assistance outside the courts to get help with the courts? Who police the courts for y'all? Who police the courts for y'all?
Well, yeah, you know, now that's the good part there, because now when your judge ain't doing what they supposed to do, you know, we have an institution. They go by the name of the state court administrators, them the individuals that oversee judges. You know, also you can file a superintendent control motion into the Court of Appeals, which the Court of Appeals will look to see if you got a valid argument, and then they will mandate the lower courts to do their job. You know, so there's other alternatives too, but again, it's a long process because to file a superintendent control motion, that costs. You know, so you already got guys in prison that's indigent. You know, I might not have $300 and something to file a superintendent control motion to get the lower courts to consider my motion. So now I got to turn to a state court administrator. Now dealing with Wayne County, when everybody files to state court administrators, like who all gonna actually get some light on their situation if we got hundreds and hundreds of guys writing the state court administrators because our judicial system is not doing their job.
So yeah, so we got to work on that. I'm gonna put something together to see what we could do, raise some type of funds, some type of benefits for the inmates who are indigent and need help and need lawyer help, need lawyer money, need private investigator money, because these are costly interactions with the courts that everybody don't have the money for that. And just because you don't have the money shouldn't mean you shouldn't regain your freedom. So what you think that should be implemented in them terms?
You know, right? You know, like right now, man. You know, I'm really like, I'm big on what you're saying because I think it's very important for the public to become active, even in just fundraising, right? Just contributing whatever they can in order to be put into a pot that will be used effectively in order to release people who are in prison who don't even supposed to be there to begin with. You know, I've been real big on just studying economics. You know, I ain't no specialist at it, right? But I study it and I look at it front to back. And, you know, I continue to study. I continue to be a student of economics. And, you know, I look today at the cost of living and prices of our commodities in our state alone is ballooning. The prices are stupid today, right? People paying all this money for commodities and goods that they need in life. And, you know, I think it's extremely important for Michiganders to become proactive in pushing for known corrupt police officers and public officials, such as prosecutors, to be removed from offices and duties. Because at the end of the day, they paying for the misconduct of these officers and prosecutors. And let me tell you why. we know taxpayers pay for the citizens to be incarcerated. Now that can be a great investment, you know what I'm saying, if dangerous people who are diminishing the quality of living, the soundness of mental health by perpetrating crimes are on the street, destroying all that, especially those who are taking precious lives with senseless murders. But taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for people to be in prison, especially innocent people who should have never been there to begin with. Mostly all wrongful convictions that are overturned due to prosecutorial misconduct and police misconduct doesn't get overturned until these innocent people been in prison for an average of maybe 18 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
In other words, by the time innocent people get out of prison, they are in their mid-40s and 50s, if not older. Anyone who is aware of the financial side of the criminal justice system knows that it costs taxpayers a tremendous amount of money to house older prisoners, older people that's incarcerated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Due to health care services that they got to provide them, which is, it costs more than younger people, including innocent people who should have never been in prison to begin with. So now we paying extra money to house people that shouldn't even be in prison. They could be in society and actually contributing to Michigan's economy, bringing more money and revenue into our state. However, that's not the case. But when these debts come into play, it's reflected in y'all prices. The prices that y'all paying right now in the state with local goods and things of that nature that y'all purchase on the daily. Or the debt is reflected in the reallocation of money by our state representatives. Because in order for a state to offset debt on a strict budget, other parts of the system must take a hit, which is why public schools, road infrastructures, and inner cities are still so undeveloped, because they pulling money from these places that need it in order to compensate for the wrong that these police officers, judges, and prosecutors are perpetrating so rapidly today. Like it's coming too prevalent and common. So I say all that to say that unethical police officers and prosecutors are costing taxpayers more money than they can spare. So if the people aren't going to speak up against this corruption to put an end to it for the sake of justice, then do it for the sake of your hard-earned dollar that is becoming extremely hard to stretch outside the injustice that is cutting into it. It's time for these police officers, prosecutors, and judges to be fired before more innocent people become victims and taxpayers keep having to flip the bill.
Man, that's, you said a mouthful. You feel me? And they really need to look into that.
I had a lot to say, man. My apologies to the people if they felt like it was too much, man. But it's a lot of things need to be said, man. It's not being said, man. So, I had to take it upon myself at this opportunity, man, to really bring that to the taxpayers' mind. Like, hey, I understand that, a lot of people out there have a lot to worry about. Food, shelter, and clothing have to become a priority. So people got their mind focused on a lot of things. But right now, man, taxpayers are being hit hard, and they don't see how. But the wrongful Wayne County Conviction Integrity Unit, the other conviction integrity units in Michigan, our state representatives, all of these individuals understanding what's going on with the debt that Michigan is paying out to wrongful convictions individuals who are filing lawsuits. They know what's going on, but they're not saying nothing because, again, man, in order for the system to stay afloat, a lot of things that's the truth about it must stay in the dark.
Mm-hmm. And so we need to bring it to the light, though, so the people know what their money being used for, and then they have some say so in what they fund and what they don't feel they should be funding. You feel me?
Facts.
You have 1 minute remaining.
I agree wholeheartedly, man, and that's why, again, man, this fight is about my freedom, man, but the fight is about other individuals too, and people who are potential victims of being wrongfully convicted down the line. I think it's really important, man, to kind of attack this monster, man, from all sides, because we really wrestling with a monster today.
You ain't never lied, and the people need to be aware of it. See, they not aware of it because it's not hitting home. See, only those who's aware of it that is hit directly at home. Until then, they don't have no concern with what, they just go by what's being told to them. You got to call back too, because we got to finish this. I'm gonna pause it here for us.
I'm about to hit, big bro. So back to like these corrupt officers who shouldn't even be on the force anyway, but yet again they keep throwing innocent people in prison who gonna eventually spend maybe 18, 20 years in prison at average before they actually get out. So take an example, the officer in charge of my case, Officer Stephen Ford. Now, prosecutors, Detroit police, they understood how unethical and untrustworthy he was because he had a misconduct filed upon him back in 2009. Yet again, you promote this guy to a sergeant, move him over to the homicide division, and then let this guy investigate cases knowing he's not trustworthy or reliable. However, from that point forward, now we get more wrongful convictions coming about when this guy should have never been on the force to begin with, or should have put him behind a desk and let him do paperwork. Whatever the case is, the problem of the matter is our prosecutors and our chief of the police and all of these individuals who's behind it is understanding what's going on. They understand that these officers are not trustworthy, but they steady using them. And there need to be some publicity brought up, because this officer should have never been deemed trustworthy and reliable at my trial. But none of that evidence about his misconduct came out at my trial. And then he commit perjury on the stand deliberately and prove that to this day, which is going to come to the light.
See what I'm saying? So why you think? Well, tell us now some of the things, some of the charges he's been brought up on, since they didn't know. You could tell some now.
Well, you know, it's crazy because when I had individuals trying to look at the misconduct, that he had, it's redacted. They don't really show you anything. They just tell you it's a misconduct, but they redact everything from you seeing the nature of the misconduct, which shows, again, a deliberate cover-up, right?
Mm-hmm.
The public should have notice of this misconduct. They should have notice of those who are investigating the case and those who are actually in charge of bringing about justice to the families, you know what I'm saying, or eradicating injustice from coming upon other family members. However, the case of the matter is they don't want to expose the misconduct. And to this day, I don't know the exact nature of his 2009 misconduct, but I know that in 2015, one of Ms. Willis' clients, Sergeant Ford, or somebody that was working with him, was responsible for fabricating the signature on a confession of one of the of a defendant. And this is known because the guy is legally blind, and somehow his signature has found its way on a confession. And then after that, in 2020, he was investigating the Jewish woman who got killed not too long ago. Man, may peace be upon him. Mm-hmm. He was investigating her case with another sergeant named Lance Sullivan. And these two individuals was actually on a stand in court circus show playing the blame game. And they was actually committing perjury on the stand. And the attorney in the case that actually got the guy off for the murder he was been accused of, falsely accused of, fabricated by Sergeant Ford and Lance Sullivan. He was actually on the stand saying that he believed, you know, in so many words, that it's okay for him to lie due to the power of his office. And when the attorney asked him, was he lying about certain things? And he said, yeah. But the same thing he said in my case. When my attorney asked him, like, is it true that you never showed the witnesses a picture of the first suspect after he was identified by a victim? He said, yeah. He said, it's true, I never showed it. He said, so is it clear to say that you falsely testified here today? He said, yeah. So he don't have a problem with lying. But the problem is, why is this dude still investigating work? He took an oath to uphold equality and justice.
Right. So what the internal, y'all ain't never get into, your lawyers couldn't get with their internal affairs and none of that?
Right now, Ms. Willis is she's working on an avenue right now, and she's trying to address with the in order to file true complaints for each individual she's advocating for, man. And again, it's something that has to be done, man. But the thing is, people don't have the support that they need, the advocacy that they need in order to get to internal affairs or in order to get to the AG office to file these necessary complaints and charges against these individuals, man. Dwayne Williams is an example, just got exonerated not too long ago. Mm-hmm. And he in a position right now to file criminal charges against the officers who deliberately, you know what I'm saying, fabricated evidence in his case and things of that nature.
That's wild. And the main thing is a financial issue they try to use then, huh?
Yeah, most certainly, right? They know how hard it is for indigent, poor individuals coming from these underdeveloped communities, man, to defend themselves. You know, so you throw us in these systems, and you got only so many court-appointed attorneys. Their workload is already is overstacked. Now you got them in here trying to defend guys whose cases got evidence that's not being turned over by the prosecution. So you really sending them in with one arm behind his back, if not both his hands behind his back. And you know, the system just reinforcing itself at every turn, man. But they know this. It's a financial problem.
Right. That's wild. So I know you work as a paralegal. What what other options do that leave us with as being incarcerated or family members of an incarcerated individual that's trying to seek out this, but they lack funds to get certain stuff investigated, research.
Again, that's why I tell a guy to be very proactive in his case, man. Keep working, man. Study law, study court rules, man. Understand what the authority enforce, what they supposed to do. They do what they want to do, but there's a lot of things they supposed to do that we don't really force them to do, right? A lot of guys get deterred, they get defeated, or a lot of guys come in here, man, with 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade education, they function illiterates, but they have to be proactive and ask for help, seek for help from their fellow inmates. When they get on the phone, instead of telling their family to look up certain things on Google and all of this stuff, man, listen, but I'm like, hey, man, I need police file, I need a prosecutor file, I need this, I need that, man, and you can petition the courts, man, for expert witness if you are an indigent defendant and you have a valid claim to an expert witness in order to help you get a new trial. There's ways around the situation. We don't have to just sit back and just sing the "oh, woe was me" story, man. We just got to be a little bit more proactive, man, and understand that the prosecution, the state, man, they ain't God. They don't have the last word, man. They can try to do all this control mechanism stuff they can, but one thing you can't anticipate is the unexpected. And we as humans, man, we have this intuition within us that just deters a structural path, and we got to stick to it.
That's what's up. And what about with these officers? How can we bring some light on these officers and they unjust deeds that they be doing and causing the root of the problem, causing ones to even be incarcerated when they shouldn't even get this far? How can we try to stop that at the butt?
Just shine their names light, man, into the public eyes. Put them on social media, man. But broadcast them, man. Expose them for who they is, man. Just put some publicity on who these individuals is and their values, man. And just, I think that alone is gonna bring enough exposure where people can actually use that evidence in a trial, man, in order for a jury to see that these people are untrustworthy, unreliable.
And so, what about the prosecution office?
Man, that's man. That's a hill to climb right there, man. But again, it's about bringing exposure, man. News outlets, man, just making it a national thing, and then we can get some real DOJ investigations going on in Wayne County or any other county that's corrupt.
Because isn't it the process?
They just closed Shard, big.
Okay, call me back after they do the counting stuff. Then I'm gonna pause it here.
Yep, I'm gonna call you right back at the count.
All right, peace, brother.
Peace, big bro.
Let me close this out. That was Dale Ray Mike. He'll be back, and he touched on a few things when he was just speaking on the taxpayers knowing where their tax dollars actually going. Do y'all actually realize that when y'all tax money goes to law enforcement, and then you have law enforcement lock up innocent individuals? So now your tax money is going to pay for that officer, then it's going to pay for this individual being incarcerated when he shouldn't be incarcerated. And then your taxpayer money go to when he get back on appeal, then he going to sue. Then they go take some more money and raise taxes on y'all to pay him back for being wrongfully incarcerated. So that's why you need to be aware of what's going on with y'all tax dollar. Because look at this list here that we got. We got a list here of officers that have committed wrong offenses, knowing intentionally breaking the law, locking individuals up. You know what I'm saying? And some of these officers, y'all done heard these cases before, but we're going to expose one of the biggest gangs in America, and that's law enforcement, the officers of the law. Look at some of the things they've been accused of. You got witness tampering. You got Anthony Carruthers, if I'm saying it right, former DPD, extortion. You got Bradley Clark, former DPD, false statements. You know what I'm saying? This is just some of the things. Just take a look at that list. You know what I'm saying? Fraud, bribery. You got John Kennedy down there for bribery. You got Alonzo Jones down there, bribery. You know what I'm saying? This what y'all taxpayers going to. So y'all, we got to be, as the people, we got to be more aware of what we doing. You know what I'm saying? And monitor what they're doing with our so-called tax dollars. So I want y'all to stay tuned and check back in later on today. I'm gonna go live exposing the corruption of the DPD. Y'all don't want to miss this. And remember, y'all, that the streets ain't what it is. There's 1,000,001 stories in the urban community. This is just but one. And we go get down to it. I want y'all to stay tuned. Go check out the YouTube streaks. We got good content on there. And I'm going to keep bringing the content of the inmates and the prisoners over here for y'all. So hit that like, comment, and subscribe, and tune back in. And this is the Beat Factory 313 War Stories Podcast. And I'm your host, Juice. And I'm out.
And not even about me. You all had an opportunity to have access to the office because this is what I laid down with every night. So he made sure we didn't get it wrong in that office. And it spread and permeated across this country when I was able to tell the real world and the real experiences that when people are treated like animals and savages, that you justify how you treat them. No, every person who goes through the system is a human being, and what I'm here to tell you is that you will be treated like human beings from across this world.
Talk that talk. Talk that talk. Talk that talk.
On behalf of every prosecutor across this country, I apologize for the mistreatment, for the abuse, all the things that have been through. I am with you to end the mass incarceration, to fight for cash bail, to ensure that re-entry for people who have a felony conviction is over.